Hi, and welcome along to AFTV News Daily, the early edition. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world right now, taking in the show. It is great to have you on board, and hoping you're having yourself a great morning, a fantastic day so far. Diving straight into the football, of course, football that we want to see come back. It's still looking that way in the Premier League. Lots of talk today about the next steps in the Project Restart, if they keep calling it. You notice everything nowadays has to have this big label to it, but Project Restart training today is set to resume for all Premier League clubs, with small groups being allowed. You remember that at first at Arsenal, they were being allowed to come to training on their own, on their ones, as we'd say in London, turn up on their own, train on their own, on a pitch, say, or in the gym, but only on their own, and leave on their own. Well, now the next step is for non-contact training in small groups, said to be around about groups of about 5 people will come in, train together, but non-contact, right? That's the next step. They're gradually going to keep ramping it up until we get to a stage where players are training, you know, properly, getting ready for games. And a lot of the talk is that the schedule to try and get football started is the 12th of June. However, that is starting to look a lot like that won't happen, and that they might push it out. The 19th of June has been suggested, maybe even later than that. But they're keeping an eye on what's happening, of course, with the coronavirus figures. I note yesterday again that the amount of deaths per day has dropped. Seems horrible to even be saying that. Deaths per day is still deaths, but it's significantly dropping in comparison to, say, a month ago. And hopefully by the time we get down to whether it be the 12th, which is probably, as I said, unlikely, or the 19th, or whichever date it is towards the end of June, the amount of deaths will be significantly lower, and we'll be looking at a situation where we'll be starting to ease some of these pretty draconian measures that we're having to go through right now. So training resuming, which is a good sign, because we want to see the season finish. I do anyway. I think it's unsatisfactory if we get a situation like what we saw again now in Scotland yesterday. Celtic being awarded the league in Scotland. The league has been cancelled there, and Celtic, who were in front, of course, not as massive, not as big a margin as what Liverpool were in front, but they were in front. They have been awarded the title, and Hearts, which is a major club in Scotland, have been relegated. And I note straight away that the hierarchy at Hearts are saying that they are going to appeal this decision. They're really, really unhappy about it. They wanted football to play on so that they could get out of it, or, as they're saying, something that I've been saying for quite a long time, if things get cancelled, you should just start again. But they've been relegated, so Hearts there are going to appeal that, and it'd be very interesting to see how that one turns out. But you see the importance, if it is safe, of getting a league finished, and I think we've seen that with what's gone, when you compare what's happening in Scotland to what's happening in the Bundesliga. If it can be done safely, it is very important to get it done. And it's no sort of and I think we had Flex on last night on the News Daily show, and there's no sort of a coincidence that all the big leagues are trying to get their games on. So you see Bundesliga, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, all 4 of them saying that they're going to finish their leagues. Then a lot of the smaller leagues in Scotland, France, you could put into that, Belgium, Holland, just cancelling the league. And the big difference is the money generating in those leagues is significantly smaller. They don't have the big TV revenues of the other leagues, and hence why probably it's easier and cheaper for them to cancel. But yeah, it is going to be small groups training. So hopefully we'll start to move towards getting back to there. Now, on the transfers, links, loads around as usual. It looks like Arsenal seem to be targeting Borussia Mönchengladbach. of course, we got Granit Xhaka from there. Well, they're looking at a couple other players on there. Borussia Mönchengladbach, and they're having a very good season in the Bundesliga. First one they're looking at is this guy. His name's called Nico Elvedi. He's 23 and he's a centre back. And we all know that Arsenal are looking for a centre back. He's been having a great season. He's from Switzerland, Swiss international. So, of course, he'll be very familiar with Granit Xhaka. He's got 17 caps for Switzerland. And Arsenal are one of quite a few clubs that are interested in his signature. Bayern Munich being amongst one of the clubs also, which means the value drops when, you know, contracts are starting to run down. So could he be on his way to the Emirates as that centre-back that we so desire? We'll have to wait and see if this develops into anything, but certainly Arsenal being linked with Nico Elvedi today, and also another Borussia Mönchengladbach player they've been linked with, this time a striker. His name is Alassane Pli, again, who's had a good season for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Bit older, he's 27. French, there's a lot of French players. I've noticed that lots of French players playing in the Bundesliga now. There really is a lot of French talent there. Had a pretty decent season. He scored 8 goals in 22 games, 7 assists. He actually scored in the game on Saturday, scored a goal against Eintracht Frankfurt in the game between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Eintracht Frankfurt. And he's valued at around about 30 to 35 million pounds. And a whole host of clubs said to be interested in him, including Arsenal. Spurs are also looking at him, Manchester United and Leicester. So when you've got so many clubs interested in you, you must have something about you. But certainly he's sparking a lot of interest at the moment. Alassane Pli, and he's probably could be pleading for that big move to the Premier League. Now, what about Hector Bellerin? A really interesting news today. Some reports coming out from Sky Germany, and they say that Hector Bellerin wants to leave in the summer. Now, this is, as I said, I don't know where they've got these reports from. It doesn't seem to be backed up by anything. It's just what they're saying. They understand that he would like to leave in the summer. Bellerin's now 25. He's been at Arsenal for a very long time. He's like one of our longest serving players. And of course, we all know that he's coming off the back of a really horrific ACL injury. Always really hard to recover from those. He's working his way back into the team. We've seen glimpses of the old Hector Bellerin in a few of the games, but still you can see that he's trying to work his way back to full fitness. But Sky Germany reporting that he wants to leave in the summer, wants a new challenge. Now, could he be on his way? Remember, he was famously linked with Barcelona. They were said to be, you know, really wanting to bring him back home because he, even though he came, you know, spent a lot of time at Arsenal, come through the academy there, but he is a Barcelona. He's Barcelona boy. He's Spanish. But could he leave in the summer? And, you know, the one thing about Bellerin, which is what Arsenal should do for all their players, is they've got him signed on a very long contract. I remember when he signed that last contract, it was a 5-year deal. He's still got 3 years left. So he would be quite a player that you could get quite a bit of money from. Because, you know, I'd say Bellerin, you've got to be looking, he'd have to be up in the 30 millions plus. Even though, as I said, he's coming off the back of this injury, but he is a very well-known player. Could he be on his way out? Of course, again, you know, Arsenal, we bought in Cedric, even though he's here on loan, but that could become a permanent move. There's Ainsley Maitland-Niles still there. Or could we look at getting another right back in? Really interesting, this one, because he, you know, Hector Bellerin is a real crowd favourite at Arsenal. The fans do really, really like him. But would really like to get your opinion on this one. I mean, if that was true and he wanted to leave, would you be willing to sell him? Do you think sell Hector Bellerin and cash in? Or are you like, no, we need to keep guys like him? Hector Bellerin, you know, he knows the club inside out. It's quite surprising to read that. I'm not sure where Sky Germany have got that report from, because from what I've always understood and reading recently is that Hector Bellerin would like to even become the captain of Arsenal. He's willing to do that. And, you know, he is seen as a little bit of a leader amongst all the players. He's been here for a very long time. He knows what Arsenal's all about. So, love to get your opinion on it. Hector Bellerin, would you keep or sell him? Really interesting. Let's get into some of your comments that are coming in, on a lot of them on the Bellerin subject. Charlie Shaw says, Hector is one of the only Arsenal players who knows what it means to wear an Arsenal shirt. Losing him would be devastating, Rob. And that is very true. He is one of those players that knows what it is to be Arsenal. He is, you can see he knows and understands this club because he's been here since he was a little kid. So he really does understand the club. Sharif says he's a goner. How do you know, right? Tyler said, I think we should cash in on, so this is a different point of view. He says, I think we should cash in on Bellerin. He ain't as good as he used to be. Buy someone else like Aaron's. Hakimi would be a dream signing. Luke Webb says it's all about the replacement. So, he's right. If Bellerin did go, you've got to get in somebody who's going to be good in that position. Caspar says Bellerin is dead without the pace. He'd be selling paella. That's a bit harsh. Come on. Jack Ryan says should give Bellerin 6 months, and if he's declining, then sell. So he's looking on it and saying to himself, we've got to give him a chance to get back to where he was. Ish, on the other hand, says Bellerin can leave and bring in Max Aarons. Scott McAuliffe says, good morning, Robbie. If Bellerin goes, are we really going to trust in Cedric Soares at right back? We haven't even seen him play. Who else can fill the gap? Maitland-Niles again, and then he puts in brackets tantrum time. So he's not feeling that either. He would like Bellerin to stay. Tyler again says, sorry, I've done that one already. Sofal says, we should swap Aubameyang with Hakimi if Hector leaves and Aubameyang wants to leave too. Possibly ask for Ceballos too and invest that Bellerin and other sales money in a marquee signing. There was a super chat there, but I just missed it. What's going on with this now? Archie Young says, keep Hector Bellerin, and we should also have Cedric as a good who was good at Southampton. He was good at Southampton. Kevin makes a great point here. He says fans do forget the homegrown rule. Bellerin is a homegrown player, ain't he? So buying a player who isn't homegrown to replace Bellerin would be a problem. But we do have a lot of homegrown players in that squad. So Sabine says, I see a trend of hate on Maitland-Niles. He had his best performances at right back for the last year. Simon says, can't see Bellerin leaving, mate. Not anytime soon. Sounds like an unpopular opinion, but I'd like to keep him. Well, not unpopular. There's quite a lot of people saying here in the chat that they would like to keep him. Some saying, it seems quite split. Certainly, he's still coming back off of that horrific injury, as we know. There's a Chief Sosa here with a super chat. Thank you very much for that. He says, would Bellerin start in any team in the top 4? Leicester start Pereira and compare him with Bellerin. Well, Pereira is a very, very good player at the peak of his powers. We've got to take into account the fact that Hector's suffered that injury. And also the spirit that he brings to that team. Hector Bellerin brings a spirit to Arsenal because you see when he's playing, he gets it. He understands what Arsenal's all about. Ryan says, hi, Robbie. I'd keep Bellerin. He's a passionate and a leader. The only problem is his injuries. But Kingsley Opera says, can't lose any sleep over losing Hector. The team has been shit for so long, so I'd welcome any change that has nothing to do with losing our top players. And you've got to say, you could look on it like what Kingsley's saying there and say to yourself, well, in the time that Hector's been here, significantly, what has he done? Has he really lit it up? It's a question to ask. It's a debate. Omar says not good enough, so he's not feeling him. Off says the problem of selling him is that a replacement will take time at Arsenal. Well, you could argue that we've got Cedric in there. Obviously, we haven't seen him play, but you know, Medwin says we should go for Doherty if Bellerin leaves. Doherty, of course, at Wolves, been having himself a very good season. Another suggestion there coming from Jake, who says I still feel we should go for Max Aarons, who's been getting a lot of ratings. Max Aarons of Norwich. Simon says, can't see Bellerin leaving, mate, anytime soon. Sounds like I've done that one already. It keeps spinning back round on me. Let's get this one from Ben. He says, if we can replace him with someone who's on the level or even better, then let him go. Otherwise, keep him. So it is really split here. It is really, really split here. And as I said, these are rumours at the moment that are coming from Sky Germany. We don't know, you know, if Bellerin does actually want to leave, but that's what they're saying, that he would like to leave in the summer. Daniel Chambers says, sell Bellerin. I don't see him coming back from the horrific ACL injury, and bring in Max Aarons. Lots of votes for Max Aarons. Young player, of course, who's been doing very well. Let's get, I'm looking for that super chat there. Just come in. Getting some good response on this, by the way. Abhinav says, Hector is one of the only kinds with the spirit and mentality that Arsenal needs. So again, support there for Hector Bellerin. Tyler Cullingham says, Robbie, who is your ideal replacement if Bellerin leaves? Well, that's the thing. You know, Max Aarons, you know, a lot of people are talking him up and he's looked good. Young player, you could grow him. He does look to get down the pitch, but is he better than Hector Bellerin? I don't know. And certainly, as we said, Hector Bellerin has suffered a lot through, you know, well, first of all, he had a loss of form before the injury. You know, I remember that his form really did fall off. And then since that, he's just not been, you know, since he's come back, he's not found back his form yet. Let's do this one. I can't get it up on the screen, but it's Sam the Gunner AFC says, Robbie, we should keep Hector as his homegrown hero. After the pandemic, you can do Cronky out protests because you guys are influencers and the fans will jump on it. So cheers for that, Sam. But he would like to keep Bellerin. CSKI 514 says, finally, Bellerin is using his head to leave that small club in Arsenal. All right. Obviously not an Arsenal fan. Roman Tucker says, are you taking the piss? Bellerin doesn't know what it means to play for Arsenal. Said Alexis wanted to win and it was too much. Poor mentality. He lost his pace and couldn't defend anyway. So Roman's not having it at all. I think he would be more than happy if those rumours were true. Alim says, Robbie, who do you think we should sell, in your opinion, this summer in order to compete? There are too many players on high wages that are underperforming. For me, Bellerin's got 1 more year. Well, I've sort of gone over a lot of times who we should sell. So, but definitely, I would agree with what you say there. I wouldn't be looking to get rid of Hector Bellerin. I'd be looking to give him another year and see what he does, because he's got 3 years left on his deal. Give him another year, let him get back to full fitness, and if he's performing to the high standards, what he should be able to do, then you keep Bellerin, because I think you know, he does know the club inside out. But if not, we got to be quite ruthless here and move on and bring in somebody, you know, because he has been at the club for a long time, and in that time we've not really seen him live up, I think, to his full potential, if you're asking me. Guna Gaming said, it will be sad to see him go, but with that type of injury, I think it's the best choice and option. Max Aarons awaits. Well, there are a lot of players recover fully from an ACL, and it does take time. It's a very, very bad injury to get, and it does take time to make a full recovery from it. So again, we've got to be a bit patient with that. Ralph Lewis says, as Arteta said, if a player doesn't want to know, then it's goodbye. That's if the rumors are true. That's very true. You heard what he said. He said, you know, Arteta, he goes, if people want to leave and they don't understand, off you go. And that goes for everybody. Aubameyang, Bellerin, whoever. So, yeah, Arteta did say that. They're pretty strong with saying that as well. Abe says, I think Bellerin would still be quality if he's given time, and he'd play a huge role if we are to challenge for the title anytime soon. He's Arsenal through and through. Did sort of caught a move away though. Remember, you know what I mean? Baliodi says Bellerin has lost a yard of pace even before the injury. Again, it's split. We have to do a poll on it. We'll do a poll in our community group today, asking that question: keep or sell with Hector Bellerin? What do you reckon? If these rumors are true, would you be like, no, we've got to keep hold of him, or would you be like up for selling him? We'll do that as a, because it is completely split here. It really is split. Kev Lawrence says we've got Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, and Chambers that do a good job at right back. A good job, but is that just what we want? A good job. We want, like, you know, we want someone who's going to come in there and really be that top player. He says we don't just want a good job now. You know what I mean? So Nathan Roy says deluded Robbie. Nathan's always on my case, you know. He said deluded Robbie, making excuses as usual for Bellerin. He was finished before the injury. Everyone was slating him. Can't use the injury to hide a bang average player. Everyone weren't slating him. It's been mixed this season. I think a lot of fans have been saying, listen, you can see he's not fully recovered from the injury. Remember that big goal he scored for us in that Chelsea game? You know, so he weren't that, you know, it hasn't been that bad, is what you're saying. I don't think he's been that bad. I've been there week in, week out, and I don't think he's been that bad. He's not been nothing special this season either. So, Nee says, buy Max Aarons to replace Bellerin. Bellerin said he's not a student of the game. That is not acceptable to me. Learn your profession. I didn't see that quote, but, you know, Hector's quite a controversial guy, quite outspoken, famously had a pop at me at AFTV. So he's quite an outspoken person in his views and how he lives his life. But me personally, I don't care what he says. I just want him to succeed on the pitch in an Arsenal shirt. That's all I'm interested in. And I don't think I'd be looking to give him. I want to see him when he's over this injury. That's my personal opinion. I want to see him when he's over this injury. Can he, when he's over this injury, play in the style and everything in which Mikel Arteta wants him to play? He's a good player. He's very quick. He seemed to have lost a bit of his pace since the injury, but again, could that be just that he's got to recover that back? His crossing needs to improve definitely as well. I think, you know, the crossing that I saw from Saka this year was better than Bellerin's, and that shouldn't be the case. Bellerin should be a better crosser of the ball than he is. So, but, you know, Wayne Lowe says, hey, Robbie, huge shout out to all from Singapore. No selling Bellerin, mate. He's honestly decent and his leadership is valuable. So I'm telling you, it is really, really split. It really is split at the moment. Final Salute says, if we can replace Bellerin with Aarons, I wouldn't say no. Also, I wouldn't say no to trying to pick up Calvin Phillips from Leeds. Richard Carter says, keep Bellerin, as we've lost too many players with the Arsenal DNA lately. Vincent, not convinced with the story, full stop. He said, journalists are bored and they need a story. Never know, it could be right. This report coming out of Germany, I don't know where they've got it from. I don't know why, you know, but it's out there. That's why we're talking about it today. Arv says, Robbie, how would you feel if we traded Bellerin for Nelson Semedo? Well, that Semedo, when I've looked at him, he's a decent player at Barcelona. And he's available at the moment, that's Semedo. It does look like Barcelona are willing to sell him Could that be a swap deal? I mean, we've heard a lot about swap deals. That wouldn't be a bad swap deal because from what I've seen of that Semedo, very quick up and down the wings. I don't know what his defense is, how good he is defensively, but certainly getting forward up and down the pitch, he's very, very good. Possible swap deal, Bellerin for Nelson Semedo? That's interesting. Elliot Roberts says, greetings from Toronto. Would drive Hector to the airport and pay for the plane ticket out of town. Doesn't study the game, exposed against Everton at all. Max Aaron's Norwich suits us down to the ground. Jeez. Quite some people quite harsh on this. You know, both sides, you know. Some defending, some, you know. Joey AFC Largely says, sell Hector Bellerin. He doesn't like AFTV. He says, I'm joking. I would keep him. Listen, it's not about, I don't care whether a player likes AFTV or not, right? When you get on that pitch, all I care about is that you're playing for this. Oh, you know, I'm playing for this. Do you know what it is, right? When I look on the screen, when I point that way, it's like the opposite way. So when I'm pointing to that way, it's like it's actually over there, if you get my meaning. But it's all about playing for this, playing for the badge, man, playing for Arsenal Football Club. I don't care. It's not about whether you like AFTV, Sky, BBC. Just get out on that pitch and do your job, man, and just get us some wins, you know. Let's get some more comments. Going back to our first one, we was talking about the football. Edgar says, to make football watchable on TV, Sky should make computerized fans. Definitely possible with these days of technology. I'm not too sure that they can. There's been lots of talks about pumping chants, noise into the stadium and stuff like that to increase the atmosphere. They do that at Tottenham anyway. But I'm not for that. If it's behind closed doors, it's behind closed doors. We're just going to have to deal with it, you know. Lerwayne Lou says, hey, Robbie, do you think Cedric can step up to the plate? Cedric, when I've seen Cedric at Southampton, and also when he's playing for Portugal, he's looked a very, very good player. You know, I've been quite impressed with him. So whether he's past his powers, I don't know. I don't know. I want to see, innit? And if he plays, gets to play in that this season, it'd be really interesting to see how he plays. Mr. Rotten says, you have to love AFTV to join Arsenal. It's rule number one. There'd be nobody there. Tyler says, if Norwich get relegated, we should be able to get Max Aaron's pretty cheap. Well, there's quite a lot of clubs looking at Max Aaron, so cheaper, but I still think they'd be looking for about 20 million for him, you know, which I suppose is cheap in these days. It's cheaper, but still a decent amount of money. But then you sold Bellerin, you get a decent amount of money for him, definitely more than that. He's still a big name in European football. FIFA 20 live stream says, Robbie, we should not sign any more strikers. We've got many, and it would stunt the growth of the young talents. And do not sell Bellerin. Going to do the last couple here. Robin said, Robbie, you have missed 4 super chats today. No, I haven't. What are you on about? Where? I haven't missed any super chats today. And Kevin says, Bellerin can turn it around. Nobody thought that Xhaka would turn it around, but he did. So we do have, that's a good point. Patience is needed there. Kaylee says, Robbie, would you take Lichtsteiner back? No, that was a disaster as well, wasn't it? We've had a lot of problems in that right back position. We really have. And let me get one more as our last one for today until we go back for this evening. And Levange's Lounge says, Robbie, the pace used to cover his poor positional sense. He's not technically good as a footballer, hence his poor delivery. We can improve on him. So really, really mixed. We're going to do, as I said, look in the comment section. Sorry, look in the community section. We'll do a poll on it and find out how you guys feel about it. Cash in on Hector Bellerin, or we got to keep him. He's Arsenal through and through. Would love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget, we're going to be back tonight with another AFTV News Daily. Of course, in the evening shows, we always have a guest, so make sure you check it out.